It's been just over 3 years since I finally broke the Adobe curse in my life and made it to the promised land of video editing softwares, DaVinci Resolve. I probably should have listened to you guys like 5 years earlier, but here we are. And I've spent an insane amount of hours in DaVinci Resolve these past few years. I edited full-time for Matt Diavella. I made so many videos on my YouTube channels and done some client work as well. I've picked up some speed, efficiency, workflow tips that have drastically cut down my time at my desk so I can do what I want with my life. And I want to share every single one with you guys today for free. So let's get into it. This video is sponsored by Motion VFX. I am having some Brothers Bond. This has been my favorite bourbon lately. Just listen. I know we want to jump into Resolve and just get speedy, but before you're even in Resolve, there's some things you can do to drastically improve the speed and efficiency of your workflow. One of those things is how you organize your files. So right here, I have my stuff divided by all the main things that I do. Let's just go into my main channel's content. So these are some current videos that I'm working on. I have everything numbered so that when I drop them into my archive, I have it organized by year, and then I have everything numbered so I can quickly go back and reference videos if I need to. They're all organized by which date I posted them, got the title in here. But what I like to do to keep things really fast is build a little folder called template. So if you double click on here, this has all the main folders that I like to have in my DaVinci Resolve edits that are all just empty right now. So if you click in here, there's no music or anything. But when I want to start a new video, what I do is I select all these, I copy it, then I go into YouTube videos. Let's say this is going to be my 56th video. Beep, beep, boop, boo. Go into this folder. And then I just hit Command V. It pastes all of those nice little folders in there. Everything's already starting off way more organized. I'm not just dragging and dropping things from the internet into random folders and risking losing stuff. The next thing I would do is just go in here and divide it up by like the cameras that I use and stuff like that. Also, if you see how I'm snapping stuff like this around on my Mac, it's a plugin called Cinch. So I have a video about an Apple Watch that I made on my tech channel, which is what we're gonna be referencing for this tutorial. But before we just drag all this stuff into a project, we need to set up a project efficiently. What we're gonna do is set up DaVinci Resolve so that it functions well for us every single time we start a project. So let's just go into an untitled project here. So we're actually not even gonna worry about keeping this project, just stick with me for a second. Let's go down here into this little gear so we can see all of our settings. What we're gonna do is set up our master settings and then save it as default so that we never have to touch it again. So most of the time I like to have my videos in 2:1. Sometimes I change that up, but it's 4096 by 2048. And then my timeline frame rates are usually 23.976. This stuff you don't have to worry about. The next thing you'll want to dial in is your color management settings. I have this set to DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate to get the most flexibility possible. And then on Mac, you want this to be Rec 709A. Basically, that ensures that whatever you're looking at in DaVinci is exactly what your export's gonna look like when it's uploaded to YouTube or whatever. It will look identical. If you're a Windows user, go with Gamma 2.4, I believe it is. Where is that? Yeah, Rec 709 Gamma 2.4 if you're a Windows user. Very last step is to click these 3 dots, go to Default, and then Set as Default Preset. If this is the most common settings you're gonna be using throughout all of your projects, just set it as default. Set, save. Now we are done. DaVinci is just gonna work for us every single time. This is gonna be the biggest one possible, but if you only gain one thing from this video, please let it be this next section. In high level terms, what we're gonna be doing is building a template for a project so that every single time you start a new edit, you're gonna have so many things already done for you. Okay, so let's go home. We can close out of this. Also, just so you know, if you want to pull footage from multiple projects into each other back and forth, you can have dynamic project switching on, and then you be able to open 2 things at once, or 3 or 4 or whatever. This is going to be living in my content for YouTube long form videos. So you can see down here, I already have a Zach Mayfield YouTube template. I'll explain the read only thing in a second, but I actually have been wanting to update this anyway. So we are going to start completely fresh. Also, if you find it hard to navigate between these menus for whatever reason, you can just click on these. These are actually buttons. They don't look very good. Like they just look like little names, but they're actual buttons you can click between. So I'm gonna right click in here, new project. We're gonna go ZM YouTube template 2026. And then in parentheses, I'm putting read only as a reminder that I will explain here in a bit. Everything here is standard for me. I'm not going to change any of that stuff because I don't really use it. Create. Okay, here is our blank project, and we need to start creating our default timeline and getting some footage and stuff in here. So I have tab map to media pool. I'll have a link to my keyboard shortcuts below if you want to copy mine. So right here under master, I'm going to right click and new bin. This is going to be timelines. I'm going to create a timelines bin so that I never have to do it again because this is my template. So in timelines, I'm going to create one, create new timeline. My first timeline will be main edit V1. I'm actually gonna uncheck use project settings and change this to my custom 4096 by 2048, 2:1. That's the correct frame rate. We should be good there. Hit OK. So now this will be here every single time as a blank timeline. I'll show you what's going on. I'm gonna create a couple more. B-roll selects is one that I use all the time. I don't need to worry about the settings because I'll just pull it into the main edit. And then I'm gonna do one last one that is media clip select. So anytime I'm pulling footage from like YouTube videos or articles or whatever, this is where that will go. Create. So these are the main edits that I use all the time. And then once I finish a video and I wanna go back and make changes, I would right click and duplicate, and then I would just make it V2 essentially, like that, hit enter. And that way my first edit is always maintained. Okay, so let's go back to main edit. You can see this is selected. We wanna be editing this one. Now we're gonna start building out all of our template tracks. So let's go back to our Finder and grab everything that we have in those organized folders. I am gonna hit Command and then deselect thumbnails, exports, and documents because I don't really use those, and drag these in on the master file tab right here. Put it right on master because then it will auto-populate exactly how you had it before. You already have everything organized by camera. It's already perfect. I love it. Here is where the magic just starts to unfold. I'm so freaking stoked about this. I'm gonna rename this A-roll. Make a second track, B-roll. A third track named text graphics. Usually 3 tracks is enough for my projects, but you can also add additional tracks here based on your particular needs. You know your projects better than I do. For my A-roll, I will keep this a certain color. I usually like to go with orange, and then I'll leave B-roll blue, and I like text and graphics to be this like tan color. And then audio 1 is gonna be my voiceover audio. So every time I'm using my talking head setup and doing voiceovers and talking heads, this audio will always live on this track. I'm gonna color code this orange because it coincides with the A-roll. It's usually the same clip. The goal that we're going for is to make an audio track for every single source that you usually use to record. So for me, I usually do my VO and talking head with my Lumix camera and my nice microphone in my little like stand setup. But then I usually have a vlog camera. I usually use my iPhone for some footage, and I want those things to be set up as well so I don't have to build tracks out for them ever again. Usually I use my Sony FX30 for vlogging, so I'll make a little clip down here. Add track, Sony FX30. Then my iPhone 17 Pro, I use that in almost every single video now. A quick little audio lesson. For voices, if it's always playing in both ears at the same time, that is a mono signal. Stereo is like what your phone records when you can hear sounds in different places. We're rarely using that for voices, unless it's like a phone or an action camera, which does, they record in stereo. But for me, I'm gonna keep my voiceover and vlog cameras in mono because there's so many times where I hear videos where like the voice is just in one ear, and setting it to mono completely fixes that. But my 17 Pro and my Action 5, I'm gonna keep in stereo because there's times I use those for B-roll and I want the ambient sound to carry from the left and the right, that full stereo sound. Change track type to stereo for those two. Other things that I use in every single video is media clips. So that's the stuff I pull from the internet. That stuff always needs to be in stereo. You want it to be in stereo, trust me. And then I also use a ton of music, obviously. So I'm going to add 2 stereo music tracks. You would be so surprised at the amount of people that have no idea they're setting up their music track in mono, and it drives me insane because music is obviously mixed in stereo. Set those both to stereo for the love of God. Just check that they're in stereo. I can show you an actual difference too here in a second. Speaking of sound, we are gonna add some sound design stuff. So I usually have a mono sound effects channel, so SFX mono. So this is like sounds that are like a whoosh or something that you just want to be in the middle of the mix. I'm gonna add 3 stereo SFX tracks as well because I do a lot of sound design. For whatever reason, I like all my SFX tracks to be chocolate. I don't know why. I think it's just delicious. And I love chocolate, so.
Get over it.
I love color coding because it just helps me immediately see things in a big edit once it's starting to get populated with a lot of clips. Okay, cool. I think this is usually all I use. Oh, wait, no. There's actually one other sound effects track that I use a lot in my videos, and this is SFX Reverb Memes. I know this seems like a lot, but stick with me. This is going to save you so much freaking time. So we need to start putting some sources in here and getting them set up so that all of our audio is already balanced for our next projects, that we don't even have to go in and do any audio work usually. So let's start with a voiceover. I usually have those in my audio here, my VO. So this is the entire video's voiceover track. For the next 3 days, I'm ditching my shiny orange phone and using... So you can see it sounds pretty quiet, pretty flat. If we drag this through, everything's already color-coded in the channels, which just makes my heart happy. Obviously, we're gonna keep it in VO. And now we're gonna go into the Fairlight tab. Do not be intimidated. This is gonna be amazing. If you hold down Shift and then scroll on your mouse, it will expand things. And then Command, if you hold it down, you'll go left and right. Let's just make this bigger so it looks less intimidating. Click on the VO track, and now I'm gonna expand my mixer. Just drag it out like this so we can see all the channels. And now we're gonna start essentially mixing this VO so that when we save this template for future edits, when you drop VO in, it's already mixed. Stick with me, this is gonna be dope, trust me. I'm not an audio master by any means, but I feel like I have a pretty good grasp, and I'll show you how I do it. So I use the vocal channel as my first thing here. And then I have a couple presets built out. This is my favorite one. So this, just ignore the equalizer because I don't use it. Ignore high pass. Just focus on the compressor here. I would recommend doing a light compressor. I know I've heard a lot of people say they use like 4 or 5 plus, but that makes all your audio sound really squeezed tight because it's compressing it more. I really like, for my voice, like 2.5 feels pretty dang good. And then usually I think if I set the gain around 11 for my particular microphone setup, it usually sounds pretty good, but let's just have a listen. For the next 3 days, I'm ditching my shiny orange phone. Okay, cool. So that automatically got my levels up to around that -6, -5 level, which is where I like to keep my voice in my mix. So after we have our compression to get the level where we want it, we need to add a limiter so it doesn't go too crazy into the high end. So if you click on the plus button, go into Dynamics, Fairlight, Limiter. This is a preset I've built. If you want to copy it, you can. Basically, I just set it to -6. You can see it's holding my voice around -6 here. When it goes higher, it tries to pull it down. I don't know why, but I like this limiter plugin better than using the Dynamics thing here. There is a limiter here if you want to mess with that too, but I just prefer this one in the plugins for whatever reason. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Yeah, that sounds really nice to me, and we're not even EQ'd yet. So that's the next thing we're gonna do. Double click EQ. This is a tough topic here because EQ is not a one size fits all. Every single voice paired with any microphone is a completely different experience. Even like the room and place in the room that you're recording can affect your EQ needs. That being said, this is a base EQ preset that I've come up with over like researching and just years of mixing audio that I've found works as a really good starting point for almost any voice and any microphone. So here's the before. For the next 3 days, I'm ditching my shiny orange phone and using this little cutie. Now turn it on. For the next 3 days, I'm ditching my shiny orange phone and using this little cutie, the Apple Watch SE 3. That's a really good starting place. It boosts the low end, it cuts out some of the like low mids that are kind of gross in my voice, and then gives me a little bit of high end while still rolling off the super highs and the super lows because you can't hear those anyway. That's about all I'm gonna say. Feel free to copy this preset as a starting point if you don't have a preset that you like. And since I just updated my EQ a little bit, I'm gonna add that as a new preset as well. VO 2026 V1. So I can always add versions if I want to. So now in the future, when you open up this project, which I'll show you later, it will automatically have that done for you. So as long as you're recording in the same environment, same microphone and stuff, your audio is done. Now what we need to do is drop footage in for all of these various cameras that we're gonna use frequently and do the exact same thing with that audio, make it sound exactly how you want, and make sure the levels are the same as your voiceover. Media clips, I don't do anything with. Now on music, I do one little trick in Fairlight. Here in the EQ, I do this little music mid dip, which basically just cuts out areas that would interfere with the voice. I just put a little dip down there so that the music isn't like combating the speaking too much. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't, but it's there if I need it. So I'm just gonna keep it on for now. Again, this is just a preset that I built. Feel free to copy it if you want to. SFX mono, the only thing I did was make sure that's mono. These are all stereo. And then SFX reverb memes. This is the most important track. Basically, I have an entire track dedicated to reverb so that when you do put something on this track, the reverb will carry forward through the edit instead of just being cut off. So if you go down to the reverb one, click on there. If you go into reverb, Fairlight, reverb, I have built a preset. Long SFX verb 1. I love this.
It's not a problem. How about a quick unboxing to get the day started?
See how it trails off like that naturally? So if I continue speaking right after that in the voiceover track, that reverb underneath will still carry over and it will sound a little more natural, even though it's just totally stupid. Now that we have all these channels fully set up for the future, I'm actually gonna just delete all this stuff. Trust me on that, brother. Now that we have all these tracks fully dialed in, we don't need any of the assets anymore because this is going to be a blank template for the future. So I'm gonna hold Shift and then click everything except for timelines. We want that to stay in there. Right click, remove bins. All right, now everything is gone. We're not done with this project, but we're done with building that initial template. So what we're gonna do, File, Save Project As. So here's the name I came up with. I like to have read only in parentheses for a very specific reason. Hold on, I'm gonna hit save. So let's go back home. You can see that this is completely blank, which is exactly what we want. So I'm gonna close out of this, which is just a reminder for me because now when I go to start a brand new project, I would right click, open in read only mode. You'll see our beautiful blank, naked project here. There's nothing in it at all, but all these tracks are still the exact same. So I'm gonna go File, Save Project As. What's a video I'm working on? Brothers Bond review, I wish. So now I'll hit save, and this is gonna create a brand new project. It will not overwrite that. Now if we go home, you'll see that both still coexist. Our template is still right here, but it's just chilling completely bare for the project after this. So now I can stay in my Brothers Bond review and start adding a bunch of stuff. So this is an M2 Mac Mini video that I already made, but let's just, for the sake of testing, drag this stuff in. I did use my FX30, which I believe is on that track, right? Yep. And then I should have voiceover as well. That lives on this track. This is a brand new project, but because we started it from that read-only template, everything should already sound pre-mixed for us.
The other basic functions are all pretty dang solid.
I'm really tired, so I'll lay down and get ready for the next day.
Yep, that sounds louder as well. There's some tweaks I want to make to it, but I'm already off to an amazing starting point. You can see my tracks here are already dialed in with all those settings. So that is how the template works. We're still gonna build a few things out though. We're gonna go back into our YouTube template, but it really doesn't matter what project you go into for these next things, because we're gonna talk about power. You can see we have like our master thing where we had all of our files. This says smart bins here. I actually don't wanna worry about smart bins, so I'm gonna go to these three little dots here. I'm gonna get rid of smart bins and I'm gonna click on power bins. I just farted a little bit, I'm sorry. I already have some power bins in here, but there's one that I want to import so I can show you what's going on. Basically, I have one here that's all of my YouTube intros. I'm gonna take this and just drag it into power bins master. So right down here, this is YouTube intros. Now this will forever live in all of my YouTube projects. So if I go home, even if I don't use our template, I just create a new project. Down here in this completely blank project is still all of my power bins, which is so nice. Like all of my freaking, you know, my Halo soundtracks, dude, they're all here, baby. So anything that you use asset wise, just put it in a power bin. Remember, you reveal them up here and it will just save you so much time. You don't have to drag and drop anything anymore that you use reoccurring on a reoccurring basis. Some other things I like to use power bins for are text presets that I use a lot. So like for instance, if I have a piece of footage from a camera that I'm reviewing or something, I like to show like what camera I'm using. So I will do something like this. Bottom left, white text. I made this at one point, I guess when I was reviewing the S1 II, and I really liked how it looked. So I saved it as a text preset. Let's go into titles. I'll just do a basic text to show you guys what I'm talking about. Fuji GFX. Then I'm literally gonna just drag this into my text presets power bin right there. I can rename this Papyrus. And now if I delete it, I can go into Papyrus at any time, any project, and this will auto populate again. And then I can just customize it to say whatever the frick I want. So there's another great way to use power bins right there. So let's actually talk about Fusion for a second here, because I know this is very intimidating for a lot of people. And to be honest with you, I'm not a Fusion expert. I'm not even close. I just have made a few text things in Fusion. So basically, if you go to the Fusion tab, you have nothing. at all. I would like to make text, Fuji, GFX. So that gives us our basic text, and then I want to make some effects afterwards. Now, if I hit Shift Spacebar, it pulls up the effects here. Let's do like a glow. This is where you can just start to customize. I like doing Fusion for text too, because you can add things like grain to the text, which you can't really do in a basic text composition. So let's say you get your text looking however you want. You go back to the Edit tab here. You have a Fusion composition, and then you can actually just drag this into that text preset power bin as well. So that's epic. That's the extent of my Fusion knowledge, kind of a moron with that stuff, because I like to get all of my effects from Motion VFX. They have plugins for DaVinci Resolve, of course, Final Cut Pro, and the other one that we don't speak of here anymore. And they have what's called the Final Price Cut promotion going on right now. This is pretty insane. They have 30% off store-wide with code FINAL, 50% off flash sales, and then 15% off their subscriptions like Design Studio and Cine Studio. And if you look down here, this is some of their store-wide stuff. I'm gonna show you which ones I've been using for years, but down here, every week they're doing new deals. So we're on week 4 right now. These things are on sale. So go on Motion VFX right now and download some stuff for whatever you edit in, and let me show you what I use. I have this cool slider shot in the beginning of this video. That's just nice and smooth, but I wonder if I could spice it up a little bit. So if I go to my effects and then I scroll down, this is everything that I've installed from that installer. It just automatically populates in Resolve. That's actually kind of sick, adding a matrix effect to this shot. So I can fully tweak these presets as well to get them to look how I want. There's a lot of times in my videos where I use little media clips like this from the internet, but something I can do to immediately spice that up is throw like a vintage preset on it, because a lot of times I'm talking about things from the past. So this is from their 16 mil lineup, which is kind of dope. You can like immediately get a cool filmic look out of it. The MKBHD pack has so many cool effects as well. Zoom continuous. So do a slow zoom in the entire time. No matter how short or long your clip is, it does it for you. There's just so many little things like this that also save you time. And I don't know how to animate like this. So if you're like me, please go check out Motion VFX today using the link in the description or pinned comment, and spice up your editing life with all these discounts, some up to 50% off, which is insane. Click the links right now. Thank you, Motion VFX, for the sponsor. So like I said, I do have my keyboard shortcuts in the description, but I want to quickly show you how I use them to edit super quickly. So I'm gonna put this talking head footage here again. One thing I do to trim long clips really quickly is if you go to video, where is that? Selection follows playhead. So I have this set up on like a pad over here on a different device, but basically when you have that selected, let me turn it on, you can see that when I pull the playhead over the clip, it will select it, which is amazing. So if you're in a big edit like this, it will select whatever you're selected on. And the other shortcuts that coincide with that is I have W set to cut, and then I have Q set to trim the back side of a clip like that, and then E trims the front side of a clip like that. So let me show you how this works in practicality. I'm gonna cut this off. That little pause right there, I can cut that so easily. If you select in the middle here, you can hit X to pull that together. So freaking fast, just using those 3 keys and then selecting the space in between and hitting X to ripple delete. It's freaking amazing. And then if I want to do my little like punch in things, if I want to go like 1.3, no, I like to click this to drag around my frame. Copy this, hold command to paste onto multiple. And then I'm going to say don't show until next copy, paste this. So it'll paste that sizing difference there. So it goes from wide to tight. So now when I do Option V, it will paste that without asking me what I want to paste, just like that. So it's just so much faster just having quick little shortcuts like that. Again, I'll link my shortcuts below. And if you do have some sort of external device, like I have a loop deck on here, you can set up complex commands like creating subtitles, which is 2 or 3 clicks into one single press. Let's see, what is my shortcut for subtitles? Option C brings that up. Okay, I just have my shortcut set up as Option C, but on my loop deck, I just have Option C set up as one single press, and I can hit create and it automatically starts creating. So that's 2 buttons to create subtitles for my entire project, which is pretty dope. Now the last section of tips is going to be all about color grading. And these color grading tips will populate into every future project as well. Just watch. So we're gonna go into our color tab here. We have this nude vlog clip, and I'm gonna show you guys basically how I build out my color grades really quickly, but then how you can save them so you don't have to always build them out. So I always start by clicking Option S, and this is gonna be my CST in. Color space transform. Do that again. Down here is going to be my CST out. Obviously I need a color space transform on each of these nodies. So on the in one, this was shot in Panasonic Vlog. And then I'm going to switch this up to DaVinci Wide Gamut so that I have the most amount of flexibility in editing possible. If I hit Command D, it'll show the before and after of just that little change. Down here, I'm gonna go from DaVinci Wide Gamut to Rec 709. And do you remember this from the very beginning? Rec 709A. Everything we're seeing in here on a Mac is gonna look exactly how it looks exported. So this basically just gave us a Rec 709 image with a ton of flexibility in the middle. And then once you add all of your nodes in between these two nodes and get the grade looking perfect, if you wanna save that, like if you film in the same location a lot or similar, or you just really like that, all you have to do is right click and hit grab still. And if you go to your gallery, it's right down here. So if I just delete these CSTs, I can drag this onto my footage and it repopulates all the nodes. And then if you're really liking this, you can take this and drag it into a power grade, and this will now save in every future project. So in your stills, this is just the project I'm working on. Like I was making some thumbnails in Resolve. I make all my thumbnails by shooting video now, but in power grades, this will show up in every single project moving forward in the color tab. But you can see like it gives you a really cool starting point that you can go back in and just make like minor corrections and then call it a day, which is really nice for speed. Now, let's say you have your video absolutely dialed in. It is perfect. So like my main edit V2, for instance, this video is basically approved by the brand. It's done. I'm obsessed. I gotta export it. So I'm gonna go to my export tab down here. I'll show you my export settings. I think they make the videos look really, really nice for the web, and you can save it as a preset. Everything's a preset, baby. So you can see right here, I'm just gonna show you YouTube 2025. I save my videos as QuickTime formats in H.264. I use the timeline resolution so that whether I'm in 16:9 or 2:1 or whatever, it just populates that into the export. Obviously, this is my master frame rate. And then I restrict my quality to 80,000, so it's really high. It's way above YouTube's recommendation, but YouTube compresses so heavy that I like to shoot way higher. I have my encoding profile high, entropy auto. I usually do a multi-pass encode too if I want the project to look amazing. It takes quite a bit longer for me on my older M2 basic Mac. You don't have to do that if you want to just do one pass through. It'll still look good, but multi-pass will make it look better. And then make sure you open your advanced settings and select Rec 709 and Rec 709A as your tags, because that will ensure that everything across the board looks exactly the same in DaVinci as it will in YouTube or wherever you post it. I also set these to the highest quality just to make sure everything looks good. And then if you do use subtitles in your videos and you want to make sure they end up in the export, make sure you click export subtitle and burn it into the video unless you want it as a separate file. It's cool that Resolve gives you the option. Click on the three dots, save as new preset, YouTube 2026, save. And now it is in your list of presets, baby, so that for the future, you can just click on this, add render, and then start exporting it right there. I really hope this video was helpful. I know I don't make a lot of tutorials anymore, but whenever I do, they seem to have a great resonance with you guys. So if you want more stuff like this, let me know what you'd like to see in the comments below and I'll see what I can do. I just want to make sure it's valuable to you guys. All that being said, make sure to text me when you get home so I know you're safe. Watch out for deer. Follow me on Instagram for short and dumb stuff like this. Support me on Patreon to have your name on screen over here. And remember that you guys are absolutely much more loved than you might even know. I pray that God would bless you guys and your families. You guys are amazing, and I'll see you in the next video, all right? Bye.